Arjuna uvacha Sthane ऋषिकेश तव प्रकीर्त्या Jagat pranushyatyanurajyate cha Rakshamsi bhitani disho dravanti Sarve namasyanti cha siddha sanghaha.
Arjuna says, O Rishikesha, Lord of the senses, rightly the world delights and rejoices in your praise. Rakshasas, demons, are terrified and flee in all directions, and the hosts of siddhas, perfected ones, prostrate, bow to you. First of all, he addresses Krishna as Rishikesha, means Lord of the senses. Perfection is measured by the extent of mastery that you have over the senses and the mind. So the first step to spiritual development is reinforcement of the intellect. Again and again, if you notice, we've been saying this from day one onwards, and we pick up everything except this. You know why? Because it's painful. But there are some painful things we have to do. And the pain doesn't last forever, it's momentary, just a few minutes of pain. And thereafter, you get immense happiness once your intellect is developed. So this intellect is developed by thinking, by questioning, by inquiring. And you can't do it all by yourself, you need help. And so therefore there are the books, the knowledge, the wisdom of previous generations. So access it, help yourself. Then he describes the reaction of 3 types of people to this vision of Krishna when they see a realized soul. What are the 3 types of persons? 1, the lay person rejoices and is delighted. Why? Because he gets solace from the sheer presence of a realized soul, of a spiritually evolved soul. That's why people go. A realized person makes no demands on you, so it's a relief. There's this man who comes and says, if I go home, the wife is constantly nagging. If I go to the office, the boss is bickering about something. So the only relief I get is in a spiritual place. That's the reason they go there. No demands made. Also, there is this tremendous charisma and attraction of an unselfish person. The moment you become unselfish, you have this power over people. This is an automatic power. What happens with Rakshasas, the second category, negative people? They flee in terror because they understand there is no scope for me here. They feel guilty because they are working against their own conscience, and spiritual person is like presenting a mirror to you, so you don't want to face the truth. You feel the power of the person and you feel helpless. And most importantly, anybody who is foolish enough to cross swords with a good person has had it. Like Shakespeare projects 3 kinds of villains. One villain who does ill to a person who has done him harm. That's understandable. Second kind of villain is a guy who does harm to a neutral person, to a person who has neither done him harm nor done him good. But he says the worst kind of villain is a person who does harm to a person who is a benefactor. And that's why the Rakshasas flee. Siddhas, relatively purified people, what do? Namasyante, they bow, they prostrate. This quality of surrender is a quality that is special about the Indian culture. Only in the Indian culture do you have this tradition of surrendering to people who are superior to you in any way. Young people were made to surrender, to prostrate to the elders. Why? Because it's a natural tendency of the young in any generation. See, when we grow old, we criticize the young. But we don't understand, when we were young, we were also like that. Arrogance is a quality of the youth. They feel, I can conquer the world, I know it all, I know what I'm doing. That's a natural quality of the youth. So to make up for that, they instilled this in our culture to surrender to prostrate, to bow down. Why do we need that? Because you cannot know everything. There will always be areas in which you don't know. In areas of your ignorance, you must be quick to surrender to a person with knowledge. Like when you go to a doctor, you know you don't know. You must also know that the doctor knows. And therefore you